I worked at a small bistro in Lisbon that had menus in 4 languages. One afternoon, an American couple came in. The husband flipped through the Portuguese menu for a few seconds and frowned. "Can we get a normal one?" he asked. I handed him the English version, but he looked at it skeptically. "This still isn't right," he said. "You've got chips where it should say fries. And what's a courgette? Is that a typo for croquette?" When I explained those were British English terms, his wife muttered, "They should just pick one version of English and stick to it. It's confusing for travelers." They ordered 2 normal burgers, then spent the rest of lunch arguing about whether Lisbon was supposed to be pronounced Lisbon or Lisbon. An American coworker proudly told me he was learning Italian on an app before his trip to Rome. "Check this out," he said, opening his phone. The app pronounced buongiorno in a cheerful voice. He grinned and repeated, "Buongiorno." I tried to correct him. "Actually, it's buongiorno." He frowned. No, the app says, "Buongiorno." Maybe you're thinking of the French one. When he finally arrived in Italy, he texted me. "Everyone here pronounces it wrong." On a train from Zurich to Geneva, announcements were made in German, French, and English. After the second language, an American man across the aisle sighed loudly and said, "Why do they have to repeat everything 3 times? Can't they just pick English? It's faster." His friend nodded. "Exactly. They'd save so much time if they didn't cater to every tiny language group." They then complained for 10 minutes about how Europe makes everything more complicated than it needs to be. The Swiss woman next to them finally said, in perfect English, "We manage just fine, thank you." At a hostel in Dublin, an American tourist asked the receptionist where he could hear some authentic Irish accents. The receptionist smiled. "You're hearing one now." The tourist frowned. No, I mean real Irish, like in the movies. "You sound kind of British." When she told him she'd grown up in Cork, he looked genuinely confused. "Wow, I didn't realize they had different accents inside Ireland. Do you guys, take classes for that?" She just handed him his room key and said, "Every day since birth." A friend of mine works as a museum guide in Tokyo. She once gave a tour to a group of American visitors. When they reached a section with calligraphy, one man raised his hand. "So this is like art, right? When did you guys start using real letters?" She smiled patiently. "These are our letters. They represent words and sounds." He looked unconvinced. "No, I mean like actual letters, A, B, C before those existed. How did you write emails?" She decided it was best not to answer that one. I once watched an American tourist at a cafe in Milan order a latte. The waiter brought him a tall glass of steamed milk. The tourist blinked. "Where's the coffee?" The waiter explained that latte means milk in Italian. The man laughed awkwardly. "Oh, come on. It's the same word everywhere. Starbucks uses it." The waiter smiled politely and said, "Starbucks is not Italy, sir." He didn't leave a tip. In Paris, I saw an American family standing under a metro sign, completely lost. The father was staring at a map. "Why are all the stops named after random people?" he asked. "What kind of name is République? It sounds like a brand of cheese." His teenage daughter pointed at another station. "At least this one's normal, George V." He nodded. Finally, something in English. It wasn't. An American businessman at Frankfurt Airport stormed up to the information desk. "Your sign says, Ausgang. What does that mean?" The clerk replied, "Exit, sir." He frowned. "Then why not just say exit? Everyone speaks English." The clerk said gently, "Because this is Germany." The man walked away muttering, "No wonder these people can't get tourism right." At a film festival in Toronto, an American couple sat behind me during a French movie. About 10 minutes in, the husband whispered, "Are we supposed to read this whole thing?" His wife said, "I think so. It's in French." He groaned. "Then why not just make it in English? Movies are supposed to be relaxing, not homework." When the credits rolled, he clapped and said, "I didn't get most of it, but the acting was good. They should really dub these things for real audiences." At our multinational office in Madrid, a new American manager joined our team. On his first day, he called the front desk and heard, para español, mark uno. Before it could continue, he shouted, English. Representative, and slammed the phone down. Later, he complained that the system was broken because it doesn't start in English. When someone explained that Spanish was the national language of Spain, he replied, sure, but this is an international company. You'd think they'd prioritize the global language. He meant English, of course. An American IT consultant came to our Brussels office to set up new laptops. Within half an hour, he sent a company-wide email titled, Urgent, European keyboards are malfunctioning. He wrote that every device had misplaced letters and strange accents appearing randomly. By the time anyone reached him, he had already pried off several keys and rearranged them into the QWERTY layout he preferred. When told that Belgian keyboards use AZERTY, he looked horrified. You mean they do this on purpose? In a high school in Texas, a substitute teacher saw the name, Nguyen, on her attendance sheet. She paused and said, I'm not even going to try that one. A Vietnamese student quietly corrected her, it's pronounced, Nguyen. She smiled brightly. Oh, that's adorable. So it's like a nickname? He shook his head. No, that's the actual pronunciation. She wrote, Nguyen, in parentheses on her sheet and said, we'll use your American name for now. It'll be easier for everyone. It wasn't. I once worked with two colleagues from Argentina who often chatted in Spanish during breaks. One day, our American supervisor called them into her office. It's unprofessional to speak a language others don't understand, she said. It could make people uncomfortable. One of them asked, so we can't talk about soccer in Spanish? She shook her head. Not at work. We're an English-speaking company. They pointed out that our clients were mostly in Latin America. She paused, then said, that's fine, just make sure to translate everything for me. While driving through Athens, an American tourist was furious with his car's GPS. The automated voice said, turn left onto Odos Ermu. He slammed the steering wheel. It's Ermu Street, why can't it just say it right? His wife tried to calm him down. Maybe it's the local pronunciation. He scoffed. No, it's broken. They should make the GPS speak normal English. He turned it off and then got lost for 3 hours. My company once sent an American manager to lead a meeting in Seoul. He began with, all right, team, it's time to step up to the plate. Let's knock this one out of the park. The Korean staff nodded politely, clearly unsure what baseball had to do with software development. Afterward, he complained to me, they just stared at me. It's like they don't understand motivation. He had no idea that baseball idioms weren't exactly global business language. At a tourist shop in Moscow, an American was staring at a sign in Cyrillic. He turned to his son and said, look, they just flipped some of our letters backward. The R is wrong, and that N is totally fake. When a local tried to explain it was a different alphabet, he laughed. Nice try. You guys should really just use the normal one. Makes life easier. He bought a souvenir magnet that said, Moskva, and told the cashier, this one's broken. The letters are messed up. During a tour in Switzerland, an American tourist complained to the guide, why do all your signs have 4 languages on them? It's confusing. The guide smiled, because we have 4 national languages. The tourist laughed. That's just overkill. You can't expect people to learn that many. The guide said, we don't expect you to. But we do. The tourist blinked. Sounds exhausting. In Wales, an American tourist pulled over to take a picture of the famous long-named village, Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgogerychwyndrabeth Llantysilio. He walked into a nearby shop and told the owner, you got me. That sign is hilarious. Who made that up? The shopkeeper replied, it's real. The man laughed. Sure it is. What's the actual name? He left shaking his head, convinced the Welsh were trolling tourists. During an online meeting, a German colleague shared his screen, and the date read, the 11th of May 2024. The American manager interrupted him. Wait, your system's wrong. It says May, but it's November. The German smiled. In Europe, we write day, month, year. The manager frowned. That's not how the format works internationally. The rest of the team went silent, waiting for him to realize he was outnumbered. He didn't. An American executive ended a call with his international team by saying, "And shout out to our members who speak Asian, it must be hard." The group went quiet. Someone gently said, "There's no language called Asian." He laughed. "You know what I mean. Like Chinese, Korean, whatever, they're all kind of similar, right?" They weren't. While visiting London, an American teenager pointed at a sign that said favor and said, "They misspelled it." His father nodded. "Yeah, they do that everywhere here. It's like no one proofreads." A British passerby turned around and said dryly, "We invented the language, mate." The teenager whispered, "Wow. Defensive much?" At a hotel in Mexico, an American woman asked the receptionist for directions to the beach. He smiled and said, "A la derecha." She frowned. "Can you say that in American?" He switched to English. "To the right." She beamed. "See? Much easier when you try." In a U.S. high school, a student gave a presentation about bilingualism. When she mentioned she spoke Spanish at home, another student raised his hand. "Wait, so do you think in Spanish or English?" She smiled. "Both, I guess." He looked amazed. "That's wild. I can barely think in English." At a cafe in Amsterdam, an American asked the waiter, "Do you have Wi-Fi?" "Yes," the waiter said. "The password is lekker koffie." The man typed it in and said, "It doesn't work." The waiter repeated it slowly. The man sighed. "Can't you just make it something normal, like coffee 123? Why do Europeans have to make everything sound like they're sneezing?" At a wedding in Madrid, the DJ played Despacito. An American guest clapped and said, "I love when they remix songs into Spanish versions." A local turned to her. "It is Spanish." She blinked. "Oh, so what's the English one called?"